done for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I normally don't start with matches, but I need to because there's just too much content to cover, and I don't want to break up the content with matches in between. So I'm going to do all four, well, how many matches? About 4 matches, and also counting what happened with the Hardys. And I think I'll start with that. Jeff and Matt Hardy versus Smoke and Joe, the Kangaroo. I'm really kind of surprised they went there with that. But I understand the reason why they did it, because they want to try and break up the monotony of the situation. And since I am talking about it, DK now has the titles, which kind of seems so out of the blue and didn't make any sense. I think it would have just been better if they honestly just did something different. I may elaborate on that later in this review if I don't forget, because I have a tendency to forget when there's so much content. Oh, there's so much content in this show. Now, the first match I'm going to talk about on the show will be DCC versus Reno Scum. And there's one guy named Reno, one guy named Scum, and they come from Future Star Wrestling. I believe they're from Las Vegas, Nevada. The Future Star Wrestling, and that's FSW. I think I came across them accidentally once when I was looking for real Canadian wrestling. And that was because Andre was working there at one point, and then he stopped working there, and he's now more affiliated, I believe, with Heart Legacy Wrestling. Because if you look at his channel, and I recommend you looking at Andre's channel, because the guy's awesome. He knows how to do good business. He knows what he's talking about. And I do respect the guy a lot. Andre, I love you. You do great work. But anyway, it made me laugh because these guys came to the ring with the FSW Tag Championships. What? What was that about? Now, does it mean SSW was going to be working with Impact Wrestling because they now want to be called Impact Wrestling instead of TNA Impact Wrestling? I don't know. But it made me laugh, like, what the fuck? Why are these guys coming down with titles? Did they win it from Jeff and Matt Hardy? And then when I looked at it, that isn't our titles. Those are another promotion's titles. And then on top of that, when they had the match, they cleaned the clock of the DCC. Which makes you think, these guys are going to be coming here. Yeah. Doesn't mean they're going to keep the titles for a little while they're here. And then DCC looks like they're about to break up, which I honestly think they should. At this point, they are totally spinning the wheels when it comes to Kingston, Bram, and the James Storm, baby. I love me the Storm. He is the best of the 3. I still don't see a lot from Kingston. I know a lot of people do like him. I just feel like because of the way he was packaged, that we had barely any talking from him. And it felt a bit weak. He just isn't a strong enough character for me personally. Doesn't mean he couldn't grow on me. I just think that he'll be better if he's now separated from the DCC. So it's a possibility they're about to do a breakup. Second, I'm going to talk about the XDivision match. Now, it's not about the guys who were in it that made it special. We all know the XDivision's still a joke. Now, I don't know if Anthem is going to be able to clean up this mess. Maybe if they advertise the XDivision on Explosion, put it onto the YouTube channel, and then let people see it, then they'll get some traction, particularly if they do a pay-per-view. If they start going to actual paid pay-per-views again, that would be the best thing. Put the XDivision on Explosion, and then do it that way. But I don't know. The person who made that special was Allie. She came down with Braxton, and then she decided, as the match was going on, to interject herself by doing a flying on top of Rock, I think the guy's Ring K Rocket or Run K Rocket. I haven't seen the guy in so long, I forgot his name. But you understand, if I don't see the guy for a while, like the other guy that was in the ring along with DJ Z and Braxton Stutter, I can't remember his name. I can't, because I've only seen him maybe once or twice. I forgot. But they need to do something about the XDivision. But in this situation, it wasn't about the XDivision. It was about Allie. Now, I know a few people are going to say, Allie shouldn't even be there. This should be about the XDivision. Dude, the XDivision is basically stagnant with no real interest, even though the hardcore fans want them. If Anthem is not going to push them, we have to see something more in it. and this was about Allie. Then Laurel Van Ness came out, and since we know now that Maria's not there anymore, it makes sense for her now to be dealing with Laurel. I do believe that if you want to add in Braxton, that it should be that Braxton should have to face someone that Laurel becomes affiliated with. Maybe she gets an enforcer, maybe she gets somebody to work with her, and that he can go up against Braxton. So he could get a bit of a rub, but that's just my point of view. The Rachel Ellering versus Sienna match. The thing that got me was Sienna trying to sugarcoat why Maria's not there anymore. And McKinley, what is her name? McKinney? I am so bad with names of all these people. Mitchell. Mitchell, I'm pronouncing her last name because I cannot pronounce her first name yet. I'm mispronouncing it so bad. Like I've always said, when I see someone new, if it's not constant, I don't get their name at first. I'm lucky I even got Rio and Scum right. But anyway, I liked her interview with Sienna, but still Sienna didn't make it sound right, saying that Maria had a nervous breakdown and she's not coming back. I just feel like it was out of place. And that's kind of what happened most of the night. But I will talk about that when I finish the matches. Did I believe Rachel Ellery did a good job? She still seems very green. I think JB was going to say that she's only been doing this for a year or two. He got cut off, so it's hard to say which one it was. But from her ring work, she's not much different than a Brandy. She does have better skill than Brandy. It is obvious. Brandy's here, Rachel's here, so she does have better skill set. She does look a lot more fluid in the ring, but she does still seem a little bit choppy. And she's cute. She's a pretty lady. And hearing that I did hear about a woman once that became a football player. I think that was on NXT. I think she was there. You guys can tell me below if she was there at one time. I don't remember seeing her, but she might have actually been there. I don't know. But, seeing that she lost, I understand that she had to lose because they still have to build up Sienna. But honestly, it could have done something different. Maybe there could have been a disqualification or a count out. So, Rachel doesn't have to fully job. But this is what we got. Next, Jeff and Matt Hardy versus Smokin' Joe the Kangaroo. I know I shouldn't mention it, but I do want to get this over with for what happened with DK. What? You have a match, in a sense, with Smokin' Joe the Kangaroo. He kicks the ass of both of them. They grab onto Vanguard 1. They disappear with the titles. Then it's DK who appears. They now have the titles. What? Why couldn't they just say, I know I should leave this for later, but I just want to get it done now. Why couldn't you just left that part out about the kangaroo? Redoing the kangaroo bit was kind of funny, but it wasn't at the same time when you saw the ending of the entire skit. When DK now has the titles for no apparent reason other than they didn't know how to write their way out of a paper bag. They could have just said that the Hardys were no longer affiliated with TNA Impact because they'd been gone too long. They lost the right to maintain being tag champions. I thought that would have been better. And finally, AEP. Berto what is that? Capion? No, Patreon. Is it Patreon? Patreon or ADR, Alberto Del Rio, went up against Lashley. He had a nice segment in the very beginning. Then EC3 came and injected himself. Then he was totally ignored by Bruce Pritchard, who I will talk about later. And there was a match set up for Lashley versus AEP. What did I just see? It wasn't the fact the match was bad. It was a fine, okay match. But the controversy, what was that? It wasn't a bad ending. It makes you want to care about what's going on with TNA. But then it's like, They could have just said after the match was over, we are going to have a rematch next week because of this controversy. And then EC3 could have interjected himself again there. It would have made more sense, but this is what we got. And I am glad to see ADR holding a title, but it's so quick and it's so cheap. You got two heels going up against each other and just... What? Alright, that is how it's going. That's how the matches went on the show. Now it's time to really talk about what happened in this show. I was for a loss of words. It took me a couple of minutes to try and figure out how am I going to actually explain this to this. Calm down. There was so much thrown at us at one time. It's hard to kind of process this. I know a lot of people are going to do reviews of this. Maybe Deluxe Man's going to do a review of this. Maybe the Slag Daddy will do a review of this. Maybe even the guys originally from the British Fist may talk about, like NJ, he still does a little bit of something. He might still be looking at TNA a little bit. I don't know. But the people I generally watch, when they do these video reviews, they'll either say they hate it, they love it, or they're in between. I felt that Anthem really wanted to hit it out of the park. So they decided to throw as much good stuff they believe would really get the crowd happy, honest. Well, not honest in the respect that to follow Impact Wrestling, but to be as honest as they can about the situation of Impact. Because over the years, we've always had someone come out and say that Impact's had problems, always having problems. But even though it did feel genuine, it just didn't feel genuine enough. So it was like Anthem wanted people to understand they are being honest. I know I said kind of like the crowd was trying to be honest. I'm talking about Anthem. They want people to know that Anthem is being honest about how the product has functioned before. And when you see this entire package, this entire show, it is like they're trying to overcompensate for what happened for the last 6 or 7 years. Since 2010, I think, that TNA's went off the rails, and they are trying to make up for it. First thing, battle of words. Throughout the night, we had nothing but battle of words where it was epically funny, epically awesome, but epically a pain in the ass. And that's about Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews. When Jeremy came down to the ring, everyone was excited because we've always known Jeremy's always been a good commentator whenever he worked with Mike Tenay. Whenever he was by himself or with Taz, it was always good. So now when we know 100% that Josh Matthews, well, I'm not going to say Josh Matthews is a piece of shit on the mic. But like most commentators, he's not all there. There's always something lacking. And they realize they need to do something different. Either take him off commentary or add a third guy like the WWE did. And I gotta say this. Him saying like, what? We're doing this now? This is like the WWE and SmackDown where we got like 30 guys when they only got 4, but you know what I mean. In the end, this entire situation for the first 5 to 8 minutes before anything happened was awesome. Because Jeremy said it very clearly, Josh, you're a piece of shit. You're a pain in the ass, you think you're better than everybody, and you're pissing off everybody, and even Jim Ross, who is my friend, telling me that you're a piece of shit. And everyone was going with it. And then the Pope was the most funniest thing for me personally. Because he's going like, oh my gosh, don't tell me this is going on. Please don't tell me this is happening, please. Now, either this was a total shoot, and that would make it even more awesome. Or they settled enough of the issues between the two, and they worked this out beforehand to try and make this as entertaining as possible. Now, I truly believe, and this is just me, you guys can tell me below if I'm 100% wrong. At first, in the first 8 minutes of this exchange between the two, this was a possible work. I do believe that this was not really as heated as many people believe. So this was a work. But as time went on throughout the show, I think the work became more of a shoot because they were beginning to get on each other's nerves. Because I think Josh might have gone a little bit too far with annoying Jeremy, and then JB just started going at him, and then it started actually becoming real. And I believe by the time it was halfway into the show, that is when it became going from awesomely great to awesomely annoying. And by the end of the show, it was awesomely bad. At one point, and I believe it was the Rachel Ellery versus Sienna match, that the mics went dead. The mics were dead. And that is what honestly tells me that that went from an actual work in the first 8 to 10 minutes to the middle of the show when it became a shoot, when these guys legitimately got on each other's nerves. And that is when the end of the show happened, and it just became bad. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Rockstar Spud now being a ring announcer. Actually, he has the voice for it. He sounds great, but I'm not going to lie. I'd rather see Rockstar Spud as a performer in the ring. He's a wonderful talent. And I do believe he should be allowed to do the work in the ring. But with no XDivision, what is he going to do? He's going to work with Aaron and Rex. And that gimmick has some points, but in the end, it gets old after a certain time. So someone at Anthem realized, why don't we put him on commentary, well, not commentary, on ring announcing for a little while. He has a voice, and it's a damn good one, as good as Jeremy. So now he's doing ring announcing, which I find perfectly acceptable. He's wonderful as a ring announcer. So as time progresses, we'll see if they're going to keep him as a ring announcer, or are they actually going to put him back into open competition, maybe when they rebuild the XDivision. Next, the thing that was confusing, Cody Rhodes. Just like Reno and Scum, Cody Rhodes is out there, and he had a title. And if you look at the picture that's in my face, that is the Global Force Wrestling Next Gen title. What? What is Cody Rhodes doing there with the Next Gen title? Now, I have not seen anything of Global Force Wrestling since the time when they invaded TNA. I have not seen the product. So I don't know how things have been going there. But for him to actually come there like Reno and Scum with a rival title does not look good. It doesn't. It makes things look choppy. It makes you wonder, is Global Force Wrestling going to work just like FSW is going to work? Future Star Wrestling is going to work with them. But then you wonder, is this just a tease that's not going to happen? So those two instances for the tag match, and then Cody coming out periodically for no apparent reason asking for Moose when everyone says he's not there, it made no sense. It cut the flow of the show. Now, when you have the people that came out and talked, Jeremy Borage was the first one to come out, as I said earlier, and he made the show mean something great. People just loved the way he talked, talking down to Josh Matthews, saying how important this show was, saying how he loved Impact Wrestling and the new format it's in. That really gave a lot of hype. Then Bruce Prichard came out. Now, I haven't seen Bruce Prichard in a while. I always remember as Brother Love, if I'm remembering him as Brother Love, when he brought in The Undertaker. I could be wrong, but I believe Bruce was Brother Love at one point, and he said, "Oh, I love you." I always couldn't stand that little bit. I think I had a picture of my face if I actually could find a picture of him when he was Brother Love. But what he said really did help the dynamics of the show. It made me feel like Anthem really wanted people to understand. First with Jeremy as a commentator slash ring announcer slash interviewer. Then at Bruce Prichard, who is now working in, I believe, in creative, trying to let people understand, look, I worked in any company for many years. I worked with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I worked with John Cena. I worked with everybody that you know. And yeah, people say that I buried the company because my work wasn't that great. But they know they needed somebody. That's why Anthem contacted me. And that makes sense to do that. Does it mean it's going to help the product? I don't know. This is an older creative talent. He is, in the sense, of talent that also creates, because sooner or later he's going to do something that's going to be like a manager or something. So I don't know if this is going to help. Then Zane Coulter, the Dutch, what is his name? I forgot his name. Dutch, oh, come on, I can't remember his name. Oh, forget it. I can't remember Dutch's name. I'll call him Dirty Dutch because that's the name I remember. I just had it for a second. It just disappeared. Ah! I can't remember names. There's so many names to remember that I don't recognize all the time. But seeing Dutch there, Dirty Dutch, who we know has worked in the business for 40 years. Whether he did great business or not, you can say, yeah, no. What he did with We the People and the Real Americans, I loved it. So seeing they brought in Dutch was really something special. And then he pretty much said the same thing as everybody else said. Look, TNA has problems. We drove you away. The talent that was here at one time, Booker T was here. We had a whole bunch of people here. We had Sting here. We had AJ Styles here. We had Samoa Joe here. We had Bobby Roode here. We had Dusty, well, he didn't say Dusty Rhodes, but Dusty Rhodes was there. And we drove them away because the bosses weren't good, the direction was terrible, and we pushed you away. So it was important to say that, which made it more important for me to identify with it that, yeah, I still love this product, and I've seen it like shit. And every time when it went through Spike TV, it was crap in Spike TV. When it went through Destination America, it was even worse. When it was on Pop TV, they couldn't get anywhere. And now they're with Anthem, and they want to make sure that Anthem is the last stop where they don't disappear anymore. They stop moving around, they stay stable. And that made me feel like, well, that might be something important. That might be hope. And then this, I'm not forgetting this. The major gripe that every person, I'm sure, has watched TNA for many years who noticed this and could not stand it. The website has been changed back to a working website where we see now talent, we see the talent roster, we see the bios on most of the talent, we see pictures of the talent. The shop TNA looks pretty much the same, but at least it's done more better. This channel, I mean, not the channel, the website in general looks way more proper. I thought when I was seeing Bruce Pritchard, I said, wait a minute, this guy's talking, I better check the website. Something tell me to check. The minute I looked at the website, I screamed for joy that finally we now know who's on the fucking roster. We got pictures of the people on the roster. We have some bios, a little bit of bios for the people on the roster. Yeah, I have to admit, for the main roster, the pictures that they used were not good. There's a lot of pictures that look like crap. But they just got the website up and running in the state it's in. I think it's only been up for maybe a week. So it's going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month for them to straighten out all the things that are not right. But I'm going to give them a little leeway in that because they did finally change the freaking roster. Well, you see, I'm excited because I'm happy. TNA, with all of its ridiculousness, now is led by someone that wants to take accountability of how stupid it's been run. Now, does this mean they won't run it stupidly? There's a good chance they will. But this time around, Anthem made it really clear they wanted to make up for how bad the product was. And 3 instances, they made it very clear, instead of just one that has happened before. 3 separate instances with 3 separate talents. Jeremy Boyage, you got Dutch, and you got Bruce Pritchard, that they said it clearly. We fucked up. We're sorry. But we're going to do everything we can to make up for it. I love that. And this show, I can't say is incredible. I'm not going to. This is the first episode of the new style of TNA. We don't know if they're going to keep the intro they made. We don't know who's the full new roster yet because Berto Patreon, I believe. He's not even on the website, I don't think. I don't remember clearly. He might be there, I just didn't see him. We don't even have Rachel Ellery on the website yet. I did look, she's not there yet. So there's a lot of changes that got to be done. And I can't tell you that this was a great show. This was a show that was meant to apologize. I think it's best to say Anthem apologized and wants to make up for it. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. And I hope you enjoyed the Zane view. Please give me a comment below. Oh, sorry. It's just the weather changed really radically. And now my throat's hurting me again. Again, getting sick. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.